Okay, then it would appear that as Christmas approaches, people are getting cheap, and I support that on this channel. The question, is it possible to find a rangefinder for less than 20 bucks that's any good to use and that is functional and fun? No, probably not, but we're gonna do our best. I went online and I picked an item up. This particular item cost me less than $10. I think shipping was like $10 as well, so maybe 20 bucks all in for this particular rangefinder that's in this box. I'll take you through it. We'll have a little conversation. You can get my take on it. I just suggest going out and seeing what you can find. I have a bunch of rangefinders in my immediate area. That I can just, you know, these are more like point and shoot rangefinder. I label them more as point and shoots than rangefinders. When I think rangefinder, I think the Voigtlander Bessa, I think Leica M6, you know, that kind of stuff. But certainly don't go down that road and spend all your money until you've tried these cheaper, more affordable rangefinder-ish cameras. Here's the thing. If you can shoot with a graphic 35 or with this particular camera, which is the Petri color correct, I'm going to unbox it in a second and you can see, then by the time you get to your Voigtlander Bessas and your M6s, you're going to be even more impressed with the technological advances, the ease of use of those cameras. Yeah, you're going to pay upwards of, well, above $1,000, and this costs you like $7. It's a little bit of a difference, but we'll look at the camera and you can just have a little cheeky look. So I still get questions. Where do I find my deals? Where do I find these cheap cameras? I tend to keep an eye out on eBay all the time. It's my kind of pastime thing that I do. I don't really flick through Instagram or Facebook or FaceTalk or Instapot, whatever you guys do. I'll flick through Goodwill or eBay or Facebook Marketplace, and I just see what's out there, see the prices, see what's going on, just because I'm genuinely interested, and I shoot all the time. Like, it's nothing for me to grab a $7 camera, run a roll of Kentmere 400 through it, and see how the images turn out. At the end of the day, I still get images to add to my collection, take pictures of my family, my friends, my dog, and those are for me to keep forever. I don't keep my images on the ether of social media where they can just fall away or get used for whatever they get used for. Most of my good stuff is in negative form or is in printed out form in my photo albums. Certainly the pictures that I love, and the ones I really love end up going on the walls or in frames. So this is why I don't mind doing this, because I'm happy to turn our self-rolled Kentmere 400 into beautiful images via these old cameras. So let's have a look. That actually does look like a mustache when I do take a sip. Look at that. It's too low. It needs to be kind of up there. Too low. My mustache is ginger as well when I grow it, which is not nice. Let's have a look. Following a question that was asked, it's well boxed, well packaged, which I'm happy about. But you know, these older cameras are kind of bulletproof anyway. Every time I get an old school camera through the mail, I just love these old leather hand-stitched cases. Look at that. You just can't go far wrong. I mean, this camera, you're looking at 1954, I believe. So very old. Whoever put this camera together is probably not around anymore. God rest their souls. And they put this camera together by hand. This case, definitely stitched by hand. You know, and you don't mind paying that $7 because, oh my goodness. I mean, if you're an interior designer, you would hate my house because it looks like a camera store. But that having been said, if you just pop one of these on the shelf, how classy and cool does that look? Oh my goodness. And just so you know, This is how you release the camera from the case. These little screw-in lugs. So you just unscrew it. Be very careful when the camera just kind of comes out like that. Cameras like this, you guys, this old school actual vintage item will be put on the shelf or on a shelf somewhere in my house, just because it's a beautiful thing to actually look at. I mean, look at the design of that, you guys. That is just so beautiful. And when you hold these vintage rangefinders in your hand, they just feel beautiful, and you can just feel those years, decades of experience just flooding out. So that is it, you guys. A rangefinder that you can afford before you buy your Voigtlander Bessa R or your Leica, any one of the expensive Leica rangefinders. Just buy one of these and try it and see what you think. Is it going to give you the experience of a rangefinder of high-end quality? Absolutely not. But what it does do is it lets you have a little go, a little experience of what it's like to go through that rangefinder motion. What I also find funny about using a rangefinder, it took me a minute to get used to it when I started, was you can see through the viewfinder, so I can see you right now, but notice the lens cap's still on. So you could go ahead and take an image. Unfortunately, you would have captured nothing because the lens cap's on. But a good thing about shooting 35 is that you then, because the lens cap's on, the film wasn't exposed to light, you can just wind the film back and take the lens cap off and shoot again. Let's jump right in and have a look at this beautiful color correct. Now, the feel, when you pick it up, it is super solid. I mean, back then, this is stamped metal, which means the feel is bulky and beautiful. The back then, I've cleaned off all of that excess grip that kind of just falls off. The cap is, again, metallic. And then underneath, that's that 2.8, pretty fast lens. Not the best, not the sharpest, but remember, this is a very old camera. I'm pretty much in love with the way that it looks. The Petri 2.8 label, classic. And then on the top, we can see an exposure guide is provided for us. I love the fact that we have a shoe. It's not a hot shoe, but we can see the exposure guide just to help us with that triangle of exposure if we need it. This is my film advance, and then the shutter release there. I love the fact that on the lens itself, much like a rangefinder, we have our f-stops. Pretty simple to use. 22 down to 2.8 for that beautiful face melting bokeh. 22 for landscapes. And then we just simply turn the lever to focus that rangefinder. So infinity all the way down to a couple of feet, which really helps. I found it to be pretty smooth and the throw to be pretty easy to manage. On the side then, flash sync ports if we need it, and then that Petri lens there. Let's see what my AI buddy has to say about this camera. I used an AI tool to come up with their thoughts and opinions on this camera. Take a listen to this.
The Petri color, correct? 2.8, 1950s, 35mm, beautiful beast is hands down one of the most wonderful shooting experiences for photographers of all experiences. The simplistic, basic form, the tactile feel, and the stunning design make the Petri CC a true collector's dream. Here we see a fixed lens, 2.8, nice and fast for that face-melting blur, manual focus, makes the feeling true to life. 35mm film is readily available to purchase, and Portra 400 looks fabulous through this camera. The silver metal body is sturdy yet sleek. The leather case, a marvel. All in all this, the color correct is one of the best low-budget cameras available today for less than a pint of warm, stale beer. Check online, marketplaces and thrift stores, and do not pass this one up. Even if you buy one for $5 that is faulty, you can still put it in the shelf as a beautiful design piece. The Petri color correct, a true shooter's camera.
Well, thank you to that AI tool. But look at the size difference from the F3 the Nikon Beast to this beautiful rangefinder, wonderful fixed lens, color correct. I loved reviewing it, got some beautiful images, and it cost me no money. Thanks for watching, you guys. I will see you on the next one.